Today we're talking about 3 different ways to publish your book. And Emra, I'm looking forward to this, so let's roll right into it.
Real briefly, there's a lot of detail on it, but really briefly. Number 1, you can entirely self-publish. This means you would go to KDP, Kindle, whatever you choose, Amazon Press. Everyone has templates today. There's a ton of self-publishing. Here's what it's going to take from you. It's going to take that, and I'm still going to suggest you get it edited outside of yourself. You can never see every mistake that you have done. Number 2, you would have to do the layout and design, and some of them give you a template, and you have to then suck it up, deal with what comes out. Are you a great layout and design person? What is the quality of the paper and ink? Sadly, I have found that most absolutely self-published books, there's issues with margins. It's just not a quality book. But it is a way that, and you have to do all the work. I mean, all the work. There's a lot of work to have a beautifully published book in your hand. And that may be perfect for you. And all you want is a book. You're not looking for quality.
And I will add too, if you do want to sell that book in stores, you have to also understand how to get an ISBN number, how to copyright your book. There's there's other steps beyond just printing through your online format. But if you actually want to sell the book, there's more to it than just that. So I also wanted to throw that in.
Thank you. Number 2, you can use a hybrid publisher like Marigold Press Books. So that does mean that you will pay upfront to have your book published, but you do have expert eyes on your book. You have expert layout and design. Your book comes out in incredible quality.
You have 3 to 5 rounds of editing as well, which, you would be surprised. Even editing on a screen is different than when you actually get your proof copy and look at it on paper. You will find things that you didn't find before. So it's
and you can't
several rounds of editing.
You can't see on a screen. And then you go into distribution. So that's one of the great other pluses about hybrid publishing. If they're connected with the right printer, it should be a distributor. So your book name gets in all the bookstores, not your book, the listing of your book throughout the world. Bookstores then get those, they look at what they need, what they want, and you may get a book in a store that you didn't even have to do the work for. It goes onto different platforms to be sold, and that's a whole nother conversation. How do you want this to sell? If you're just going to go on Amazon, you're not going to get the chunk of your money. And we may as well have this conversation now that if you want to get rich from writing a book, this is not the get rich. You can do other things with your book and create multiple layers of revenue from it, but it is not the get rich script for you writing a book. It is more about leaving a legacy, making an impact, and the writing process changes you.
And it can also help you develop a platform. If you have a particular message, let's say that you like to go out and speak at schools on taking care of your body, and you decide that you want to write a book on that. I mean, that, again, the most books that you're going to sell as a new author are going to be at the back of house after you have spoken. So when people interact with you and they hear what you have to say and they understand the value of your content, they're going to want to purchase that book. But just having your book on Amazon, people think, oh, if my book's on Amazon, I'm going to be a bestseller. That's not the way it works. So depending on what your goals are and depending on what kind of platform you're looking to build, hybrid publishing can be an excellent way to work through all the mire and the confusion of the publishing industry. And also, I will just say, have an excellent product at the end of the day that has a beautiful cover, that looks amazing, that there's no crazy misspellings, where all the margins are perfect, you have great chapter title headings.
The binding is good.
The binding is great. You're going to have an excellent product that you're proud to sell at the end of the day. Okay, so number 3, traditional publishing.
Traditional publishing, which is the long route. You will need to get an agent, means you need to learn how to write a query letter, and that in itself, you can Google it, has what you need to have ready to present that to an agent. It is the best way. Typically sending a query letter to a publishing house, the chance of them picking you up is not so hot. Because they get so many. An agent can get you a foot in the door. You have to know your genre. You have to, all the details of it, who you're going to look for that's going to be interested in your book. And they're pretty straightforward in what they're looking for. They may not be needing your book this year. They may be all full on that, and they state it very clearly. And so even if they get your book, will it be published this year? Probably not, because they've already chosen the books they're going to publish this year. Now, you never know, and we always have to caveat this. There's always a miracle. There's always that one that a crazy breakthrough happens. Then there's others like Jack Canfield, that 200 people they knocked on the door with Chicken Soup for the Soul. Nobody wanted that book, so they published it and they sold it out of the back of their car. And eventually they found someone who took it on. Now, when someone takes on your work and you become picked up by a publisher, depending on you, how much they're going to pay you ahead of time for that book. And then if your book doesn't sell, they won't take any more from you. But they need to believe and know that this book is wanted, that people are going to buy this book. So if you're ready for the long haul and you don't need your book out into the world soon, take the long haul. See where it gets you. There's always a miracle.
I would say there's kind of 3 different types of clients that we see. And, I would say the first one who does completely self-publishing, they're really just printing the book for themselves. Some of them take them to little fairs and shows and things, but they really just want to get that story on paper. That's really their goal. With the hybrid publishing, we have newer authors who want to have an excellent product that they can take as they're developing their speaking platform. They're kind of like, I would say, mid-level authors or beginning authors who have a fairly decent impact and influence. And then you have the people who go the traditional route are people who really, they want their life work to be writing. They want to be professional writers. That's what they want to do. And so
on average, we just had Michael Mamey speak with us, and he said, on average, what would you earn a year if you have a book that sells thousands and thousands of copies? 25,000?
I think he has to sell at least 20,000 copies a year. He's got a HarperCollins
contract. And
he
makes about, what, 25,000?
Well, I think last year he said 27,000.
27,000.
Okay, writing's not going to get you rich, people. That's the bottom line. Writing's not going to get you rich, but people love to do it. It's important. We need to keep doing it. So don't let that discourage you from writing. But we just want to educate you that there are different ways to go about getting your books in print. And we didn't even talk about ebooks and Kindle, which are huge formats depending on what genre you're in. Please let us know if you have any more questions. marigoldpressbooks@gmail.com.
And remember, your story matters. Should be in a book.